Greetings everybody, Matt Wonko here with an RPG discussion. It's been a little bit since we've done one of these. So, today in the RPG discussion, we're going to be talking about 5 things we can learn in an RPG from Guardians of the Galaxy. So, if you haven't seen the movie yet, you're not really going to know what I'm talking about, and there might be spoilers, so come back when you see it. I highly recommend it. It scored 8 out of 10 on my list, a very strong 8 out of 10. So you should totally go and check it out. One of the things that really impressed me about Guardians of the Galaxy is the party dynamic. There are 5 characters in the main Guardians of the Galaxy group. First, Peter Quill. He's their party face. If you built his character in D&D, you would see a character with pretty decent stats all around, but his real benefits and his training and skills are definitely the charisma skills. There's a lot of persuasion and bluff and diplomacy that he uses throughout the whole thing that keeps the whole group together, as well as how he interacts with other people outside of the group. He also does a lot of skill monkey in addition to just being the party leader. He's got a bunch of really cool gadgets that allow him to do some pretty fun stuff. If I had to pick a 4th edition class, I would probably put him down as an artificer, except that his stats don't really work well for that. So I don't know exactly what I'd peg him at. But, you know, it would be a very interesting character to play. Second, we're jumping down to Gamora. This green-skinned babe gets to play another crucial role in the party. Actually, if you look down the rest of the party, most of them are doubling up on one party role. Gamora is your dex-based character who's your striker. She's your, I guess you could call her an assassin, possibly a thief, depending on exactly what skills she's trained in. But she's very nimble, she's got a high AC, and she likes to go stabby. The next striker on the list, number 3, we'll go down as Drax. Drax is a more straightforward brawler barbarian type. Strength and Constitution would probably be his 2 best scores. He is a striker with a bit of tank mixed in, but I think he's mostly designed as a striker. This movie did not really show him in that light too much. The only people that showed him really taking out were common folk, and you kind of have to look and see what it's like up against elite units to see exactly where it falls in. But, you know, a striker tank, that type of thing, that's pretty good. Number 4 on the list is Rocket Raccoon. And, yeah, Rocket gets to be put in a really interesting thing. And, you know, depending on exactly what we were doing in that in an RPG system might change whether or not he's a sorcerer or a wizard or whatever, because it's all about the gadgets and preparing a spell or a trick or whatever exactly you want to call it to be able to take out whatever needs taking out. So he could very well be a destruction evocation type mage, or he could be a tech wizard with spec and bombs. Any of those are really fine. His main stats, his number 1 stat, I'm actually going to put down as intelligence. Which may seem a little weird, but that's what he seemed to be using the most, because he had to hack into computer systems, he had to navigate ships, which I think, while taking a bit of dexterity, does take a lot of intelligence. And he had to do, you know, a bunch of really smart stuff. And so I think intelligence is what I'm going to peg him at, with dexterity a strong 2nd. Once again, he's a skill monkey. And I would go further to preface it as an arcane/tech skill monkey with, you know, a bit of the dex skills mixed in. 5th is Groot. You know, it's kind of hard to classify him as a player character or as Rocket's pet. I don't know. But hey, I've been in a campaign with Trog, and that's pretty much what that was. And this is a tank, 100% tank. Yeah, he's got some strength stuff that he does, but a lot of what he does throughout the movie are just soak hits for other people. And hey, it's a tree that's moving around and attacking people. Let's focus fire on that and ignore the raccoon, who's probably over there being cute, until the raccoon opens fire. But, you know, that's fine. Yeah, as a tank, he takes control of what goes on. He also has a lot of other powers, so I would not be surprised if somebody was trying to make him in D&D and added a bit of a wizard splash or something, because he had a lot of utility abilities. I wouldn't quite call it a druid, because he's not controlling trees, he's controlling himself, and that's different, but I digress. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of the party, while a lot of it does seem to focus on strikers, that just makes better TV. Everybody in the party seems to work well together, and they've got a lot of roles that they can just assume to be able to beat up whoever they need to beat up. The second big thing that we can learn from Guardians of the Galaxy is about personal agendas. Out of the 5 characters who form the main Guardians of the Galaxy, each one of them has a separate agenda. Well, separate's a bit of a misnomer there. Rocket and Groot I'm kind of pretty much lumping together, though they did do things a little bit differently. For the most part, they were a team. Each person had their own wants and desires, and not only that, throughout this movie they were each acting towards it, actively pursuing those things, and it just so happened that they came together, just for these tasks. Drax, for instance, wanted to kill Ronan. That's what he wanted to do, and it took some, quick talking from Star-Lord to convince him that killing Gamora wasn't on brand for that, and that he should wait and set an ambush. And once that had happened, once that had occurred, once Ronan realized that, he wouldn't be able to once Drax realized that he couldn't defeat Ronan without friends, then he joined up with his friends and began focusing less on himself and focusing less on the group, because he could see that with the group he could achieve his own goals. And gradually the entire group's goals kind of got sucked into this big bad evil guy ball of plot. And everybody's goals, from trying to make a profit to trying to survive, all came down to fighting the big bad evil guy, learning how to trust the people that you're fighting next to. And that was pretty cool, and I think it's something that I can definitely try and work towards in my games. Number 3, on a similar note, groups like that, with Drax and trying to kill Gamora, and then it just, one character talking him out of it, that just doesn't happen. That's not something that gamers are going to naturally gravitate towards. They could. I can't think of groups that I've been in where it's just naturally worked towards that. When our groups have come together and started to get tightly knit, it is not because of things that we did at the table. It is things that we did outside of the table. Personal example, in a recent campaign I was in, I discovered the true identity of one of our party members, and he contemplated sending assassins after me, which I was fine with. But I then also came up with I talked to him a little bit outside of game and promised him that the next week I would give him a reason to trust me and a reason to fear me, and a reason to not let me die, I suppose it was. And through an amazing bluff check, and was able to convince him that he should keep me alive, and gave him a reason to trust me. And we ended up being able to work together as a team because we had coordinated outside. And when you're coordinating outside, it's always nice to involve the DM, because the DM needs to know if party dynamics are going to change. He needs to know what to throw at you. The number one rule of being a DM is that your job is there to have the party have fun, and if they need to collude outside of the table, well, maybe you need to be doing something different, or you need to be helping. So yeah, and be careful. Sometimes your help isn't necessarily needed or wanted, but keep it in mind that maybe your DM should be a little bit involved. But yeah, there's the game I'm running right now for a bunch of people. No one talked to each other before we started, and so nobody knew that we were having a party of filled with a lot of squishies, and no healer. And could I have done stuff to encourage people to play a healer? Yeah, I could, but also we could have asked. And the next group that I'm going to be in, I'm planning on asking what people are playing and making sure that what I'm going to play has a place in the party dynamic, because that's important, and I'm going to coordinate outside of the game to get that done. The fourth thing on my list of things we can learn from Guardian of the Galaxy comes from a scene where I thought it was filled with plot hole and stupid world building, but it turns out the DM had come up with something really, really cool for the Guardians to do. It's at the big final scene when the Dark Aster, Ronan's spaceship, is about to crash or do something, invade, whatever, the Nova Corps, and he sends his ships to dive bomb for some stupid reason, and the city guard, whatever they were, who are forming this massive web blocking the ship, they suddenly have, these NPCs have this decision: do we stop doing this to go try and save our people, or do we let our people die in front of us while we're trying to save everybody? And there's this big back and forth in that character, and then a party member steps in, and Rocket Raccoon says, hey, we've got the guys coming we'll protect the city, you keep that guy up in the air. And he comes down and he gets to do stuff as an anti-air cannon that the city totally should have had. That's beside the point. The point is that a plot hole in the story, if I call it a plot hole, I don't know if anyone else would, but a big thing like that in the story gets turned into a cool opportunity for the PCs, and that's never a bad thing. When in doubt, let your PCs do cool things that they'll be able to talk about for a long time. And it's the type of thing that would make the PCs heroes in the town once everything's over. And plus, we're letting the NPCs go do the boring job while the heroes get the exciting one, and that's never a bad thing either. The fifth thing that we can learn from Guardians of the Galaxy is cool toys. There were a lot of really cool, nifty little gadgets. They were everywhere. Every member of the party seemed to have something or other that was their special thing that they were doing, and special toys that they could play with. Especially Peter Quill, the Star-Lord. The bad guys each also had their own special items, from the whistle spear to Ronan's hammer of cleansing, or whatever exactly it was. Everybody had something that stood out and were really, really interesting. And I am definitely in favor of giving cool toys to people. And, I've been playing 5th edition. I need to give you guys a review of that sometime soon. But, 5th edition, once I get the DMG, I'll be able to learn a little bit about how they want us to, make magic items. And then maybe I'll get a little bit into that. But, as you're playing your game, hey, when you get cool stuff from the DM, use it. That's why he gave it to you. And DMs, give party members cool stuff. If they try and do something that's a bit over its head, say that it breaks, or it's a plot point, or do things with it. Don't just not give players cool stuff. Give them cool stuff, and then see what happens. So, I think that's it. Those are my 5 things from the Guardians of the Galaxy. Let me know if you guys thought of any other things that we could learn as RPG players from this movie. Please post them down in comments below. Other than that, my name is Memnat Wankow. This has been an RPG discussion. If you guys stay in line, I'll see you next time. Peace out.